to bring you the very latest in terms of our international and also our local drivers in that particular race. Now, all of you, of course, have been asking me, Tony, what is happening to the 2027 edition? Shall we be having it? Remember, of course, our contract with the promoter expired a year ago. We were given an extension. Now, what is happening in 2026? So definitely to answer these very important pertinent questions this particular afternoon, I'm very honored to be joined by the event director of the WRC Safari Rally, my very good friend who knows motorsport inside out, Norris Ongalo.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And receive greetings from Ken Masoni. I was given express instructions. Nikusalimie tu one hiyo kesi ishe.
Hiyo imefika. I hope anasikia.
Anasikia, of course. They very know each other very well from the days of Oil Libya. I should have said that, definitely. Sure. So Ken Masoni, staki kesi, tumemaliza udeni. We also have, of course, the clerk of the course of WRC Safari Rally. That is George Mwangi, my very good friend. The last time tulionana alikuwa kwa cockpit za magari akikula vumbi, but sasa ni mdosi. Clerk of the course of a very important third leg of the 2026 WRC Safari Rally. Well done on that particular event.
Thank you.
And also we have now the ones who are making George and Norris shine. And that's why we put them in the middle. We have, of course, Ishmael Azeli, also one of our rally drivers. And also we have a navigator, a very experienced veteran navigator, Dennis Wenda. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Karibuni sana. Let's just get into it. Mbio mbio. Let me start with the event director, Norris. The event was such a success. Last year, I was able to maneuver through the traffic jam. This year, I was not able to maneuver through the traffic jam. It says a lot about the popularity of this particular sport.
Yeah, I mean, when we see jam, we always say that we do not have good enough roads, big enough roads to accommodate bad behavior.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying one of the reasons was because of bad behavior, it's just because of the popularity of the sport.
Yes.
I think this year we also tried as much as possible
Yes.
to have the roads clear, which we did, save for the last day. Yeah.
So at least I'm sure, definitely looking at the numbers that came out, it was a success for you. Clerk of the course, George, let me also bring it to you. There were certain sections, George, that were cancelled. I think it was, forgive me, Camoran. Camoran was, of course, we were just getting into now the first day. Then a section becomes, couldn't withstand the weather of Naivasha. But of course, all the same, what are the drivers saying about this particular season, this particular competition, this particular edition, now with the wet conditions, Bwana George? Because I remember the drivers complained you had to change certain areas, you had to uproot certain direction places and put certain things. You had a lot of on your hands this rally.
Oh yes, but we were ready for it.
Yes.
And that's why we were able, to do changes immediately. Maybe you may remember the first section that we shortened was Roldia. There was a 6 kilometer that we had to cut off. It was all on safety grounds. In the event that we had to dispatch maybe an ambulance, they would have really struggled.
So
and that's why we had to chop off the 6 kilometers. Because, as much as we want a challenge, safety is paramount in the event. Again, Camoran, second day, I was up from 3 a.m. because I was in touch with the stage commander.
Yes.
They could not deploy, the marshals and also the ambulances, the MIVs, the TIVs. So the best decision was to just cancel it. Again, same thing happened, Sleeping Warrior. We had even moved the start 4 kilometers in for the second loop. But when the double zero car went through that, and one of our most experienced drivers, Ian Duncan, and he said, well, the rally cars can go through, but the ambulances might struggle. So we had no option but to cancel the stage.
All right.
Yeah.
That was very important. And
Yes.
of course, safety first normally in this sport. Remember, motorsport is dangerous, but of course, with the structures and measures put in place, it becomes a very safe sport for you to participate and also watch. Azeli, yourself, I was looking at cars that are, retiring, the likes of OGs, the likes of the top drivers in WRC retiring. How did your car do? why use? How did you manage, of course, to maneuver all through that? Of course, and I remember also some of our local drivers also had a hard time.
Yes, we had a very hard time. The stages were they were amazing, as equal as they were bad. But we really managed through all the stages that we were meant to do.
Yes.
And of course, some were cancelled, and to us local drivers, sometimes it's a blessing in disguise because you don't want to go through maybe what the Rally 1 cars are going through, because we're running this sport on basis of sponsorship. So sometimes you don't want to look like you're struggling too much while the other Rally 1 cars have really passed.
Yes.
But all in all, it was an amazing event. We really enjoyed it. We had so much fun.
John Gugi is here. John Gugi is watching you right now.
Yes.
Right? Please, John Gugi, forgive us this. It's just that our studio is too big to accommodate you.
Yeah. So
and the entire team as well.
Yes. So we had an amazing run. I'd say that generally. The car performed very well, exceptional, good, and I can't complain. I think we were in a very good spot this year as well. Indeed.
Yeah. Dennis Mwenda, your driver Isa Mwari, right now is enjoying the beautiful sandy beaches of Mombasa or Watamu, and you are here coming to answer question on his behalf.
I don't
but of course, Isa Mwari definitely enjoyed his round of rally in Naivasha. How did the car perform in your own opinion? And do you think, of course, there are any improvements to it, and in terms of how the sections were in Naivasha?
Yeah, the car performed well. We just had a small issue on Saturday where we had to retire for the day because one of our ball joints went loose and we lost a wheel. But we were able to fix the car and continue on Sunday and eventually get to the finish, which is the purpose of which was our goal. Yes.
So at least you achieved what you had planned out for the last weekend.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Just before I bring in the event director to share with us about the conversations in terms of 2027, let me first of all go to George. I've just received a message, and of course it's something that also we did a story about fans or alleged fans stoning cars. One such incident was when Pauline Shegu together with Linet Ayuko were in the car, and that affected their rally. How did this happen in your own opinion? Not opinion, I'm sure you received reports about that particular incident, and I'm sure Pauline Shegu is looking like waliniharibia rally, na of course nilikuwa na sponsors nifurahishe, alafu ona waliwekwa kwa kichaka. Pauline, unaona nimejitoa kwa hiyo ngori.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate.
It was a sad situation.
It was very unfortunate, and we condone it.
Yes.
And immediately we got the reports in the rally control. We had a police officer in the rally control,
yes.
Bwana Boniface Otieno. He sent some police, to the road sections where we had the stoning, because besides Pauline Shegu, I think even Dennis.
Yeah. Dennis, you also experienced that then.
Yes. Yeah. We had an Ugandan crew, Duncan Mubiru and Joseph Kamya also reported. It was quite very unfortunate.
Yeah, you have never experienced that, I'm sure, in the past.
Yes, and I mean, we cannot have that. If we have to be in the WLC, we cannot have that.
What measures maybe are you looking in for future? Because I'm sure you didn't foresee that. I mean, someone's stoning.
Yes, it's the first time it has happened. So now, God willing, next year, is the issue of sensitizing, the community, and also, involving the local administration, yes. So that, because we know the problem areas now, we noted. So for 2027, we'll be on the ground talking to the community.
I'm glad, George, of course. That's very important, clerk of the course for the WRC. Norris, definitely the 2026 edition was a goodwill extension by the WRC promoter. Now, 2027, it's very uncertain. Most people are saying the Scotland leg is back, and I understand it will be in September 2027. USA are doing trials, I think, in May or in April this year. Africa, other African countries are doing this. What are we doing to secure this? Or have we lost it? To be too honest, Norris.
First of all, I also want to just echo what the clerk of the course has said to condone the issues of stoning.
Yes.
I was around that area when it happened. And these were just children who we thought were wayward. And we will probably next year involve the same children to become marshals within that general area so that they become part and parcel of the organization. But that said, I've heard a lot of rumors, I've seen a lot of articles in the social media about Scotland taking over Kenya. Far from it. Scotland are there because they passed the candidate event last year, so they are in the calendar of 2027. Yes. But Scotland is not replacing Kenya. I think it has been in the media about what the president said. The president was very clear, saying that going forward, he'd want government to take a back burner and get the private get more into the driving seat. Would he be saying this if there wasn't anything in the future? Number two, the event promoter himself, Simon Larkin, had an article in social media saying that Kenya is a very distinct part of the rally because of the unique pictures that we get from Kenya, because of the fan base. So, and as far as the calendar for 2027 is concerned, I know these discussions are still ongoing, but they're ongoing because the promoter feels that Kenya is significant and is a very integral part of the WRC calendar. So, apart from the discussions being held, which in my information is they are already in advanced stage, I absolutely do not see the reason why Kenya should not be. And we are planning, knowing that Kenya is part and parcel of 2027 going forward.
Indeed, true. Thank you. In short, what Norris is saying that we have the 2027 edition. I'm a journalist, I can just conclude like that. For now, if I'm held accountable, I'm coming to the event director. Azeli, yourself, of course, you've been there last season. You were racing in the ARC.
Yes.
Of course, with the likes of Karan Patel. The competition is there, it's very stiff. What are your prospects this season? With your navigator, John Ngugi. I must mention that.
John
very
Ngugi
important. And your entire crew, it's very important.
Yes, it's very important. Yeah, we are planning to we have plans for this new season. We just started the new season, so I think it's going to be a good season for us. We have things that have lined up. We have a couple of upcoming ARC events that are coming up as well. So we are planning to do all of them. Of course, again, it goes back to the sponsorship.
Sponsorships, yeah, it's important. And you're in the sport because of sponsorships.
Yeah, we are in the sport
otherwise
we don't have. In fact, I would be crippled if I didn't have sponsors. So I think my team and I are very ready for this new season, and we're very excited about it. New things are coming, new cars. We keep on upgrading the car that we're driving every other year. So this year you've seen the VAB. It's one of probably the only one in the country that is on that level of what Subaru is known to be, and being a Subaru boy. So let's see how the season ends up being.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dennis Mwenda, you have a team, of course, led by the Issa Mwari. You have sponsors. You're a veteran. You have navigated, of course, virtually some of the top drivers we have in the country. Also, you've been a driver. What is the future like for motorsport from where you sit compared to the previous years? I'm talking about the years 2008, myself, 2009, when I was following rally from Ilbisil, uko kwa mstuni. But nowadays, I'm struggling to follow rally. Compare this and this. Nini tunakosa hapo katikati?
Tunakosa enthusiasm, tuseme.
Kwa wadosi ama kinazeli?
Wako hapa. Yeah, and now sana the young guys, I mean, we need more young people to join.
Yes.
And participate in the sport. Hiyo inakosa sana. So we are hoping that si tunajaribu kuonyesha kuwa an example kwao. Ili waweze kujoin, because that is what can grow the sport. And we also hope that a lot more corporate companies can join in and sponsor these young guys, because motorsport is expensive. And so we need the sponsors to come in and actually identify young talent and nurture it. Because I remember, like, when I joined rally in 2011 Safari Rally, I was car number 88 out of 92. That is 92 cars. We had 92 rally cars in Kenya. Those are local cars. Those cars are still around, but they are not drivers to drive them. Now you find that a rally has like probably 20,
15. You're being nice.
entries, which is
10.
Yeah,
You're being nice, man.
yeah. So we are doing quite well, but we are hoping that in future this will improve and we'll go back to the old days. Yeah,
we're looking into that. Norris will first tell me about how we bid about getting to host one of the rounds. Just in a nutshell or in a summary, how we bid into that. But let me bring in George. George, the race was shifted from Nairobi. The flag off, of course, at the KICC is behind Azeli. We didn't have that opportunity, so the closest we had about the flag off is where Azeli is seated here at Team 47. And then we had the spectator stage at Kasarani. We didn't have it, but they moved it with reasons to Naivasha. Maybe why? What was the main reasons to that?
First of all, we had considered the roadworks. You know, there's a dwelling of the Rironi to Mau Summit.
Yes.
So we had, we had just been proactive. We thought if cars do Kasarani, by the time they get to Naivasha, there could be traffic build-up. Yeah. We might lose the whole day. Then after that, the FIA and the WRC promoter came up with a compressed program. Yeah. So the event had to run from from Thursday to Sunday. So there's no way we would have had our shakedown in Naivasha and come to Nairobi for the ceremonial start, do Kasarani, go back to Naivasha. Because again, don't forget, for the round to qualify as a WRC event, you must be within the threshold of between 300 and 350 kilometers comparative mileage.
Okay.
So based on that, that's why we had to shift the start to Naivasha.
And of course, you'll tell us whether you like to shift it to Nanyuki, Voi, or Kwale. That is a concerned viewer who is saying, George, mupeleke Nanyuki, ama mupeleke Voi, ama mupeleke Kwale. But just before you answer that, Norris, what happens? What is happening behind the scenes in terms of negotiations towards the promoter agreeing or not agreeing to have us in one of the rounds in 2027? What happens? What is going on?
I think for the negotiations to go on, there must be parties. So the first parties that are involved are the government of Kenya, and the government of Kenya has already chosen a team that is leading the negotiations, which includes ministry officials, Association of Kenya officials, yes. Etc. But then on the flip side also, we do have the promoter, because that's where it starts from. It has to come from a commercial viability angle. So the promoter has his own irreducible minimum requirements, and the government also now has their own irreducible minimum. So that's the sort of negotiation that we do have. And for the negotiation to be ongoing, it means that we are in a good place. It means that everybody wants this to happen. So we have up to, I think, end of April to have concluded these discussions. And it's after that the agreement would move now to the Motorsports Council. I don't know whether I answered
that one, of course, gives us shades. There's a light at the end of the tunnel from that, of course, explanation. And it was very important because some fans, of course, enthusiasts were like, okay, Sasa, what's happening? But of course, that sheds light into it. George, I don't know, George or Norris, just before I come to Azeli and Mwenda, the government has decided to take a backseat. Said, leave this to the likes of SportPesa, White Cap, KCB, you name them, to take up this. Is it a plus? Is it a minus? Or from what we saw this time round, it is a light at the end of the tunnel, because I saw a lot of many corporates came in big full force. It means then the corporates have taken it up, and the government will just basically be providing security and maybe all those simple things. George or Norris, I don't know who will be able to answer that. Both. What to answer now, George, in your own capacity. You saw, of course, the corporates are there, because I'm sure you're a signatory to those when you receive those checks.
I wish I was.
But of course, the government taking a back seat and it's a good thing for the sport. Looking at, of course, how our own Kenya National Rally Championship it was through the corporates that the Kenya National Rally Championship was very popular. Ongalo knows Oil Libya. We have the likes of KCB. Is it a plus or minus for the government to just look at you and say, do your thing, we give you security?
I think it's a plus, Like you said, remember 2003 when the Kenya National Rally Championship was going down. KCB stepped up. They have never gone back. They have sponsored the event since 2003. They brought up, the Kenya National Rally Championship to a very high level. Yes. So having corporates is a plus. And like this year, having SportPesa coming in at the last minute, they really saved the situation, because we know the government has been struggling with funding. We read in the papers about
austerity measures.
Yeah, so it is a plus. And also don't forget corporates also, the incentives from the government. They get a tax rebate. So it's also a good, opportunity for them to come strongly and also get some, benefits on the other side.
Okay.
Promote sport on the other side.
Yes.
Because one thing, we don't appreciate the safari as much as we should. Safari rally is big. When you go to other events and you meet officials and when you say you are from Kenya, the excitement, even the fans. I had an opportunity of going to the Central European Rally last year. And we went for dinner with my colleagues. And some other guys came and sat next to us, and we started a conversation. They were rally fans from Austria. And when they heard we were from Kenya, they got so excited. They even started calling me Mr. Fesh Fesh.
Yeah.
They were even saying that they want to give their dad a treat to come and watch the safari. Safari is huge.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's big. No, Safari, undoubtedly it's big because I interacted with most of the fans. I had one from Ireland, one from the UK, I had one from Paraguay. I had several fans where I was. I was at the Elementaita and Sleeping Warrior area. I managed also to move around more than that and stuff. So I actually met some of those international people. I was covering international enthusiast rally fans. As we went, I'll come to a close before I also give a chance to Norris to weigh into final. Azeli, what are the challenges? One major challenge that other rally drivers are facing. Of course, you're with them in the service park, you meet them, you sit around, have coffee together. What are they seeing is a challenge in this motorsport space?
I think it's been a challenge all through. I'm sure some of people here will agree.
Same, Gopa. I give you security of tenure.
But I think the biggest challenge has been basically the leadership that we've had, and now we are hoping that, as it comes to, as all this negotiation is going on, and what, the sport is us.
Yeah.
Who are driving, us the mechanics, but if on the top there things are not good, then it definitely boils down to us, and it affects everything, like the performance. Even when a driver is not in good mood, it's definitely not a performance gonna go on. So those all frustrations that come from not having a good leadership. So for me, I'll say from where I'm seated as a driver and among us other drivers that I know, I think the biggest thing has just been leadership that we've been experiencing challenge with, and I'm hoping that we get to an end at some point.
Leadership, yes. That's something, of course, the topic, and I'll bring the two fighting factions. I think there are even 3 or 4. There's when as we wind up. It's a very bad situation in the Kenya National Rally Championship. When, of course, just 1 or 2 people, 20 seconds that you'd like to appreciate for the efforts, of course, they did for the safari and, of course, this season. Yeah,
I'd like to appreciate our sponsors. Should I mention them?
Mention them.
Yes, of course. Our title sponsor, our biggest sponsor is MozartBet, so I'd like to appreciate them. And also White Cup. And as much as I'm promoting White Cup, drink responsibly.
Yes, it's not, our children.
Usikunywe sana. And if you do, don't drink. If you drink, don't drive.
And don't throw stones.
And kindly, please do not stone us. We are out to entertain you, we are not out to fight you.
Asante Sada is the navigator to Isamwari. Azeli, of course, is the driver together with John Njungugi. Norris, your final words. You have a minute and less.
Yeah, mine is to echo the fact that commercialization is a way to go. And I think this was very clear from the president when he was launching the Talanta Hela project. He said WRC must commercialize, and I think we are already seeing that happen. And there's a lot more that can be done when private companies come in into Safari Rally. I remember when Oil Libya was coming in and Mobil was exiting, we were wondering, at that time I was a part of the Oil Libya team, I was wondering what do we need to do to ensure that we still retain the brand. And we were very clear that motorsports were the way to go, and we went and sponsored top drivers, Azar and Assad, the two brothers, and we also were able to poach Boldi from Triton. Yes. And Charles Singer. So we had 4 serious drivers who we were sponsoring top level, and that really brought a lot of fruits to the brand Oil Libya, and I want to encourage companies to go that direction. My biggest wish is to see companies adapting a talent at the young level, at a young age. Imagine anybody who would have adapted Luis when he was 10 years. What sort of results would they be reaping now? So there are a lot of talented Kenyans that we can adapt as sponsors.
Thank you. Norris Ongalo, the event director of WRC Safari Rally 26. George Mwangi, the clerk of the course of the WRC Safari Rally. Ishmael Azeli, together with John Ngugi. Which brand are you carrying besides White Cup?
My total sponsors were Betika, thank you so much. Yes. We had Betika, White Cup, Shell, Nobel, Selection, among others. Thank you. Then it's
Mwenda, of course, and Isa Mwari driving in the
Mozart was our title sponsor.
So thank you, of course, and the entire Pauline Shegu said hello. Hello. Sana, she was watching. Shegu imefikisha salam, of course, and the entire motorsport fraternity who are part of this. This is a conversation, of course, we're just starting. We'll have a continuous conversations towards our own National Rally Championship and, of course, towards the 2027 WRC Safari Rally. This, of course, is Sports Extravaganza. My name is Tony Kwalanda. Gentlemen, thank you for making time. This sport does observe the 2/3 gender rule. They're just not here. They have not just come up. That's why you've heard me saying Pauline Shegu to cover up the 2/3 gender rule for this particular show. Just before I let my guests go, just so you know what happened definitely in the AFCON, whereby Senegal, who are the title holders, through a ruling by CAF Appeals Board, were stripped of that title they won in January 2026 in Rabat, Morocco. Now, we have a top journalist, football journalist currently in the UK, that is Charlie Rowing, who we are going to engage. You're crossing over right now to the UK to tell us, Charlie Rowing, exactly what does this mean from where you sit and how you observe this particular incident. Charlie.
Hi TV47, Charlie Rowing, European football reporter, happy to join you once again from the good old UK and ready to add a global perspective to an absolutely insane decision by the Confederation of African Football, or CAF if you will, to strip Senegal of their Africa Cup of Nations title and award it to Morocco. Niaibu indeed. I mean, where do we start with this one? Firstly, the final was played 2 months ago. Better late than never, I guess, by CAF standards, although I would call it the longest VAR check in history. So let's go back to the actual match. Now, the way Senegal conducted themselves when they protested the decision to award Morocco a very late penalty was frankly an embarrassment to football, and I'm not by any means condoning their behaviour to walk off the pitch like children just because they didn't agree with the referee's decision. However, the referee of the final, a man by the name of Jean-Jacques Ndala, well, he had the power there and then to punish this behaviour and say that he's not going to accept it. Senegal have now forfeited the match and Morocco have won the final 3-0. But he chose not to. Instead, he decided to let Senegal overrule him and for the situation to get out of control. And need I remind you that it's the referee's job to control the game and be the arbiter of the match. Anyway, Brahim Diaz missed that awful penalty and the game finished 0-0. And then we know what happened next. Senegal scored that great goal by Pape Gueye in extra time and won the final 1-0. Great. And look, Senegal were deserved and very worthy champions. Yes, the scenes of them walking off the pitch was very ugly as was the subsequent clashes with fans, but it was a fantastic tournament with the standard of African football the highest it's ever been. And I'd probably go as far to say that as a result of that, it's the best ever African Cup of Nations we've had. Well, now all of that is in the toilet because of this incompetent decision by CAF, and it's a terrible look for African football that undermines both the AFCON and CAF themselves. And honestly, I'm not sure what they were thinking with any of this. I mean, it's 2 months later, as I already mentioned. We had the Senegal players celebrating with the trophy, with their teammates, their friends, and their family. The Moroccan players will have understandably been gutted to lose the final. All of the players from both sides will have processed their emotions and be moving on with club football commitments, only to now have received an email saying, "Oh, by the way, just to let you know, you're now an African champion," in the case of Morocco, or "Terribly sorry, you're no longer an African champion," in the case of Senegal. It's ludicrous. And it's now opened up a whole can of worms for CAF, with Guinea appealing to have the 1976 trophy overturned. Also against Morocco, by the way, who themselves decided to walk off the pitch way back when in that game they were losing, only to come back and score and end up winning the trophy. I mean, considering that the statement that they released said that they want this outcome to contribute to the consistency and credibility of international competitions, particularly African football, well, it's only fair that they give that title back to Guinea now, right? I mean, why don't we go back now to 1986 and take the World Cup away from Argentina, who cheated with Maradona's hand of God, and award it to England? It's madness. Look, I maintain still that Senegal's behaviour in the final was appalling, but it should have been dealt with at that time, and the referee at that time, rightly or wrongly, believed that he did. I know that Senegal have now come out and said that they of course completely disagree with the decision, and I'm sure we can all relate to that. And they're also going to appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And I imagine that they will get their trophy back. But I believe that this process could take up to 6 months, by which time these players will have played in the World Cup in between. Well, maybe they can just hit recall on all of those emails. Again, it's just a real shame because the tournament was fantastic. It was a great advertisement for African football, but now I just fear that CAF has now gone and undone all of that good work. Anyway, maybe it's time to move on to something less controversial, like the Premier League, of which you can catch, of course, live on TV47. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Charlie Rowing, coming to us, of course, one-on-one all the way from the UK, sharing what he thinks about Senegal being stripped of the Africa Cup of Nations title, which they won in 2026 on June 18th at Rabat. How that happened, all the CAF appeals board is the one that knows what transpired. We're waiting to see what will happen. But Senegal have, of course, said they will be appealing at the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Lausanne, Switzerland. Let's see how that transpires. I understand, of course, we have reports that that particular Africa Cup of Nations trophy has been moved to the barracks in Dakar, Senegal. So basically, they're telling Motsepe and team, come get it if you want it. Right now, of course, we shift gears. This is Sports Extravaganza. My name is Tony Kwalanda. Right now, of course, we are getting into boxing. We are, of course, in motorsport. Now we're getting into boxing. And there will be a very important, big boxing bout. And I'm happy about this particular event, the Raw in the Ring Season 3. We have had Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, and now we're having Season 3 that will be held, guest right, Watu wa Thika, Makongeni, we are coming to your backyard. And this, of course, event will be promoted by the Milk Boxing Promotion. And I have the director here, my very good friend Ezekiel Mwabili. Karibu sana, it's good to see you. Thank you for going to Thika. Watu wa Thika wamekuwa kinisumbua, peleka boxing. And of course, also in tow with the director of Milk Promotion, we have the vice chair of the Thika District Business Association, Vice Chairman Wilson Nderitu. It's very important to bring the community to this particular conversation so we see how this boxing makes sense to Thika, because boxing basically is a sport by you, and definitely it has a community behind it. And that's why we have the Vice Chair of the Thika District Business Association. I also have Coach Kefa Okol Ochieng. He's the top coach at the Thika Royal Boxing Club. Karibu sana, coach. Tumeshukuru sana, representing an entire team of trainers, of course, and coaches at that particular club. And then we have our featherweight top star at the Thika Royal Boxing Club, anajulikana kama Jamal Hatwani. Kabisa. Karibuni sana. Thank you for of course making time, gentlemen. Next time I'll be telling the director to observe the two-thirds gender rule, so that now when you're having this conversation, sikae tu mazetu ati warembo tumeanza, ndio just fresh from our International Women's Day. Director, season 3 is here at Tanana Small in Thika. Give us the details of how these things will be.
Thank you so much, Tony. Yes, indeed, we have taken care of gender, but the space I think is small. And we, in the bouts that we have organized, we also have taken we have factored in the gender part because we have a bout for women.
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Now I'm happy you've mentioned that. But of course, why did you decide to, as milk promotion, boxing promotion, take it to Thika? And why Thika? I know you initially, when you had this conversation with you was it last year or maybe in the course of this year, you mentioned you're spreading the row in the ring across the country. Are you achieving the goals you wish, and that's why you're spreading your wings besides Nairobi?
Indeed, actually, because yes, we had this conversation last year.
Should be last year, the end of last
number
year.
of times.
Yes.
Why we are, as we said, we are still on track because remember, Thika is not Nairobi. Thika is a city on its own. But the approach of male promotion is something that is unique in terms of boxing because we want to transform lives. We want to change lives. Because you find many promotions are coming into more of pro-business, but at the end of the day, we are looking at how sports can transform communities and the people in the community. So you'll find Thika itself has its own challenges, and in partnership now with the Thika District Business Association, they have like a surge of youth who are employed, and most, so this is the age of the gap of the youth, that are the age gap that is very vulnerable into drugs and all that. So they are trying to impact them now with skills through sports, transformations, take away that negative energy to go to do negative things, but to transform that energy to a positive energy that will be either in building skills and also transforming them in terms of weeding them out from the vulnerabilities in the community, such as drug abuse.
Indeed, very true. I'll later bring in the vice chair a little bit later and coach. But let me start, let me bring in Jamal. Jamal, featherweight at the Thika Royal Boxing Club. Tuambie jani yako, ule msee anakuwatch kwa mara yako ya kwanza. Wasa Thika anakujua pale Royal Boxing Club, wanakujua mtaani, wanakujua. But tuambie jani yako ya boxing imekuaje? Ulianza wapi? Kwa ufupi tu, si kwa sana. Kwa ufupi ulikuwa wapi, ukatoka wapi? Sababu of course tutaleta vice chair tuambie kwa nini wanakuja kwa support talent zenyu. Ulitoka wapi ukafika wapi? Utumie lugha yote by the way. Kama unataka kuongea na utathika na lugha ya Thika, wewe piga hiyo shughuli. Haina shida. Kama lugha ya Kiluya, mimi unajua naongea kwa shona Kiluya, piga Kiluya, usiogope. But of course who is Hatwani? Who is Jamal? Who is this featherweight star from Thika?
So I am Jamal Hatwani, aka najitanga the silent leopard. Like siongei mingi, na changa mkono ziongee kwa ring. So my journey na boxing nilianza nikiwa shule. Though most of the time nilikuwa na spending time like I believe labda kama ningekuwa sifanyi boxing, maybe ningeenda up kwa kutumia labda pia drugs, juu ya kukaa idol. So mostly nilikuwa napendanga kuspend time na watu wenye pia wanatumia hizo drugs. Like kukaa tu na hao, the stories zenye wanapiga, like na feel tu niko at least sijaboeka. So vile nikaanzanga boxing, nilikuwa na watching tu Olympic with my friends. Then nikaona jamaa anapigwa, niko ile design anapigwa aje. Akaniambia unadhani kwa ring ni rahisi? Nikasema hapana, si wote wana train. Una fight na mtu una fight na ni mtu, si mnyama na wewe ni mtu. So ndio nikasema, jamaa fulani akaniambia sio ndio train. Nikamwambia nitaanzia wapi, sijapata coach. Akaniambia kuna coach pali fulani. Nikatokea nikaongea na coach, kuna coach wanasaidiana na anaitwa coach Muliro. Kaongea nao, nikamuelezea state yangu, and akakubali nianze kutrain. So boxing vile mimi imenifundisha not only just to throw the punch, but imenifundisha like to be patient and to be disciplined. Yeah, that's all to boxing, like imeplay to my life to big part to. Yeah.
Nakuja baadaye kwako tuambie your fellow boxers wataje majina. Ni poa kupiga salamu, mimi penye natoka Waluya si lamu lazima uweze sema. Coach Okol bana, acha tukuja kwako Ochieng coach. Una represent I'm sure an entire team ya technical bench ama wale of course wana coach, wana trainer ama boxer kaka kina Hatwani. Thika Royal Boxing Club ilianza wapi, ilianza aje, na of course goals zake, objectives zake ni gani, na mmefika wapi na hizo plans zenyu?
Asante sana kwa nafasi. Mimi kuanzia hiyo club ya Thika Royal Boxing Club ilianza 2018 baada ya kustaafu kwa michezo nilipokuwa boxer. So ile kitu ambayo ilifanya nikaanzisha hiyo club ni baada ya kuingia Thika, niko na vile vijana walikuwa wanateseka sana kimaisha pia na mambo hiyo ya ulevi, uwizi, na kaona kuwa walikuwa na uwawa sana. Nakumbuka kuna time nilipata askari alikuwa anaitwa Taiso, kapata vijana 5 walikuwa wameuawa. So nikaona ile kitu ilinisaidia kwa boxing, ilikuwa coach wangu ndo alinisaidia, maana nakumbuka hata mzazi alikuwa hataki niketi na group Mombasa. So ilibidi nikaenda nikajoin boxing. So boxing ikanitenga kabisa na group. So kwa mimi group yangu ikawa ni boxing sasa. So ndio njia nilikuja nikaleta pia Thika, ndio nikafungua club, ndio angalau sasa nikaanza kusaidia vijana through your boxing. Na hiyo club nashukuru sana, manake 2018 tulienda game ya kwanza tukakuwa ikapata imepospondiwa, ilikuwa na offices. Tukaenda 2019 tulikuwa toka namba 37. Lakini 2020 timu iko huko tukatrain tukaenda game tukakuja namba 2 nationals novices. So hapo nikajua kwa timu tunasonga vizuri, na ikanipatia sasa nguvu zaidi ya kuweza kutrainia maboxer. Lakini sana mbali na boxing, mimi niliweka hii boxing club yangu ni kama ni njia ya kuweka vijana pamoja na kuepusha na vitu kama hizi madawa na hizi madrag. Sana ndio club yangu, maana nasema kama sisi makoche, ningeomba sana makoche pia wako nje. Hii boxing tunaitumia si usema ni gift ya God. Manake ukiwa coach wewe ni leader bado. Manake huyo mwanafunzi amekuja hapo, macho yake kuko wako. Yule mzazi wake ako pale nje, macho yake kuko wako, pia anakuaminia. So anajua mtoto wangu akiwa pale anako safe. So ningependa makocha wa kufunzi wenzangu kwa wakati wote mahali tuko, hata tunatensha boxing, baada ya mazoezi tunafaa kuongelesha. Manake ndio njia pekee, maana hakuna haja mtu anakunywa mama kuja kwa dawa anapelekwa rehab. Sisi wenyewe ndo tuko na rehab, hii gym ni rehab. So ningependa sana makocha wenzangu tuweke maana, hata ukiona boxer amekuja gym ama kijana amekuja na ukora ina gani ama ako ina gani, usimfukuze, mpe time. Hiyo ni life skill.
But life skills kama boxing
kabisa. Huyo hapo unataweza change, lakini ukimfukuza umeathirisha maisha yake kabisa.
Umeleta tu shida zingine, umesukuma tu shida kwa mtaa, wasumbua tu tena na makarao.
Ndio kabisa.
Wacha nimlete Wilson kidogo. Wilson Deritu, the vice chair wa Thika District Business Association. Bwana Wilson Deritu, boxing, why are you using boxing? Boxing as a sport, mbona mnaitumia na imekuwa na manufaa gani kwenyu, ama mnapanga ama mnaona itakuwa na manufaa gani katika hiyo community ya Thika huko kote penye itakuwa inafanyika?
Asante sana.
Karibu Wilson.
Let me say, I begin with why we exist.
Yes.
The key aspect is promotion of a sober business environment for our members.
Yes.
That is key.
Very true.
In achieving that, there are many ways. One of the risks and the challenge of business environment is security. So most of security issues are connected with young people.
True.
Because they are idle, somehow they are not working, or they are on drugs.
Yes.
So in terms of achieving that particular objective as an association, we feel we have a responsibility, to empower youth where we think they can help us achieve the security required for businesses to thrive. So therefore, when we listen to the story of Coach Kefa, when he came to us, we found him merging exactly on what we want to see. So we as well decided then this is a good way. Right now I hear him talk about that particular season, because we are in Thika where these boys were shot and, that was the answer to insecurity. Then the association looked at that in a different manner. At a particular point, we even restricted the transfer of that particular askari. We talked to the NPS and the transfer was cancelled because we felt we are still insecure. It was very tough then. When now we merge those kind of experiences and we have a proactive way of achieving security through sports, now it becomes our agenda as well. So that's why the association has taken charge now to provide, we believe that we can begin somewhere. You know, him starting on his own at 2018 and being able to sustain that. So we felt like if we came in, we can do some empowerment there. That's one reason, security.
Thank you.
Then the event as well is also an economic impact event.
Yes.
When we discussed with the male promotion director here, we saw some, you know, talent, you know, sports tourism happening. That's very key, because now even our members, we also take advantage of the event. And we didn't want to see it at a particular level. You know, the image that sustains also at national, international level, an image that can last long to help in sustainability. So that, and our model club is the Loyal Boxing Club in Thika. So we are really in that. And those are the two major reasons why we are really going into that charity event.
I'm happy, of course, you've mentioned that elaborately, of course, how you are you're involved into all that, because it's an ecosystem you're creating. If you don't support them, then definitely you'll suffer as business people. And Thika is one, of course, of our country's industrial hubs. And we are glad, of course, you're taking that road. Director Male Promotion, Bwana Ezekiel, when is this event happening? I know we have maybe shared it on our poster and stuff like that on your poster, but for the benefit of someone who's watching right now,
Yes, yes.
Where, what time, why, are we going to have entertainment? I was having the rally people here, and they are discussing about, it's not just about rallying, there's a whole ecosystem of funds, business, all of tourism, just the way Vice Chair said.
Yes.
So yeah, for the benefit of someone, so that I can come to Thika on that day at Anana Small.
Good.
Na nipate mahali pa kulala pia, juu najua itaisha usiku.
So much in Thika City. I'm calling Thika City because Thika is a very big economic hub.
Yes.
So Male Promotion has partnered with the Thika Business Association. We have really planned very, very exciting matches, because this is what we want to showcase, even the talent that will be coming from the club. This is what they're expecting. So it's more of now experiential for the sportsmen, young sportsmen we want to put up there. So the event is going to happen on 25th of April, and this time the gates are opening early. It's 2 p.m. So that's the time that is more of the family, they can come and catch up. And this is the opportunity that we are bringing everyone in the family, father, mother, child. Initially, watu wa usiku wanasema giza imeingia hapo niwazie. So we want to make it more of a family event. So it's opening at 2 p.m. and it's ending at around maximum around 8 p.m. And then we have quite a number of bouts, and the 5 main bouts are professional. Some are debut, the ones that we're trying to bring now into professional boxing, like Jamal here. And then also we have paraboxing that is also showing inclusivity, because we want to have everyone included in that. So the match is very well organized. There'll be so much to offer in terms of even entertainment, because even I was coming here, I've received quite a number of artists, because we like infusing talent in terms of boxing and also now music, entertainment, all that, such that it's a whole kind of a wholesome event. So we want to focus on the upcoming artists within Thika, Kiambu, and also within Nairobi. So that's an opportunity that will also come in within. So see boxing peke yake. It's a whole thing. And then Thika town itself is Thika.
Yes.
In terms of the food, nyama choma, drinks, everything is there. So it's more of like a whole experiential kind of entertainment during that time. So the tickets also are already outselling there, and we have catered for the whole range of the family, because we have the regular tickets going for 1,000 bob, and then we have the VIP going for 2,500, and then we have the corporate tables, because the nature of Thika itself, we are expecting to receive high-level dignitaries who are also going to be part and also supporting this initiative.
Yes.
They are also going to be part of it. It's going for 25,000, and it has quite a number of offerings in the same. So for the ticketing, I think that's what I'll rush to, because this is something that, yes, the ticketing, you just dial the USSD code is star 487 star 487 star 29, and that is under Views as a platform. And we are expecting to have a lot during that day, have a lot of fans there, because we have seen quite a number of interesting conversation happening online. So we hope and believe that this time no one is going to be left behind, because the venue is huge, it's big. there is no restriction, so it can contain thousands and thousands of fans who will be there. And the other thing also, we're also going to be live, and also we'll be having very interesting stories as well, especially coming from the young guys who also want to join in. So it's more of a big hub of activity. It's not only boxing event per se, but it's more of experiential, even for partners who want to come for the next match that we'll be organizing 2 before the end of the year.
Indeed.
Good.
Raw in the Ring Season 3. Raw in the Ring Season 3 at Ananas Mall in Thika. I've been to Ananas Mall. I know it's a huge place complex. I know Raw in the Ring Season 2 was held at Charter Hall here in Nairobi. It was full to capacity. Nikaambia ndugu yangu hapa director, peleka big space. Thank you for listening, and of course thank you for the Thika Business for actually accepting. Hatwani, you have an entire team of other boxers. Who are they? What do they do? And do you share the same story? Mlitoka hapa, mkafika hapa, for the benefit of someone who's watching and wondering how is boxing related to discipline?
Yeah, actually kwa hii journey sometimes kunakuwa na negativity kiasi, thoughts zenye watu wanashare na wewe. Like unapata mtu most of people walikuwa wananiambia like watu wengi wamecheza boxing haijawapeleka pahali, like hata kusaidia na kitu. So for me the good thing actually, tukimaliza kutrain, not tunamalizanga tunaenda, coach anatukalisha chini, anaanza kutuambia hizo stuff. So alikuwa anatuambia like kila mtu ako na jani yake, vile mimi aliniambia kila mtu ako na jani yake. Wewe kama umejaribu hii imekataa, it doesn't mean kwangu itakataa. Mwenyezi Mungu yenda na bariki kila mtu. Kuna mtu mwenye utapata huko hivyo labda hata ni better than me, but unapata labda yeye pia hajafika pali kama hapa. So for me, I believe like out wenye wako kwa street wasikae idol, wa join boxing, at least kitu ina keep busy. Juu ukikuwa busy una pursue through something, hautapata time ya kufikiria nifanye, hautakuwa tempted na hizo stuff. Yeah.
Very good. Coach, umesikia hivyo, course unafanya kazi nzuri sana. Coach, uko hapa na Bwana Wilson Nderitu, Vice Chair wa TDBA. Unajua anawakilisha watu wazito kule, CEO na watu wenye makampuni.
Dio. Kama
uko na kitu yote ungependa kusema hapa ya Thika Royal Boxing Club, sema tu moja saa hii, tatuliwe saa hii. Ndio huyo hapo, usiogope. Ndio kwa platform. Ndio mimi nitaweka hiyo record. Nikimtembelea ile siku 25th, kuja nipatie matokeo.
Ndio.
Moja tu, tuko na kufuata dakika moja useme hivyo before tunamalizia, alafu ndio pia Bwana Vice Chair ataongea.
Manake hiyo gym yangu vile kwa tumwangia nafaa iwe stima. Okay. Na maji angalau boxer akimaliza anashawa. Unajua si wengine wanatoka ghetto. Kutoka jioni unajua anakosa hata mahali pa kwenda kuoga. Hiyo ni kitu baada tubali tumeongelea. Hiyo ni nikitaka sana ishughulikiwe. Manake boxer kutoka watu tunasema usafi ni kitu maana. Ona cleanliness next to God. True. Na boxer lazima kuwa msafi. Manake boxing ya sasa si kama ile ya kitambo. Siku hizi boxer anafaa ako smart zaidi, yani ndio tulete pia picture mzuri na kufanya wazazi wa sasa wa understand boxing ni sport. Boxing si uni, manake najaribu kuchange boxing. Mimi mwenyewe kwangu mwenyewe najaribu kutaka kuchange boxing vile ilikuwa na vile inafaa kukua sasa hivi. Manake boxing watu wameichukua kama boxing is just a sport, lakini sana hata kuongea na Nderitu, boxing inafaa ikuwe ni kazi, ni business. Manake tukiangalia kama US, ndio ndatoa mfano kwa wale wakubwa kama Mayweather. Watu wametokea life chini, Pacman wametokea life chini. Ukipata story man kama Pacman alikuwa anauza hata mkate na bike. Ona, lakini through boxing nimefanya amechange life ya kwao na kachange paka inchi yao. Maana sasa watu wanasikia sasa yeye ni prime minister kwao. Ni sababu tu ya nini? Boxing. So mimi ningependa sana hata kama boxer na train na watu wa chini, mmoja jaribu kufunza kitu moja, kuidia Pacman. Hii kitu unapata leo sio yako peke yako, usikuwe selfish. Hata unajua utajiri ni wangu, wewe ukiwa ni star, jua nataka kujenga pia mwingine. Afu community yako yenyewe yote kama umeisimamia, umejenga. Yani boxing ni kitu ikuwe iko live na hata mwingine anaweza penda box. Lakini kwa wewe ni boxer umeenda ngambo, ukirudi hiyo mfuko ni yako na boma yako, wajua hata wengine wanachukia boxing. So unajaribu kuchange boxing, na watu wajue boxing ni kitu unaweza toa kijana pale chini na kachange na kajenga wengi. Hata ile mzazi pale anakuona sema wachana na box, yule jamani mkora. Siku moja wewe utaja kumjengea nyumba yako, msimamishie. Sasa ukora wako umemwekea kitu ya maana ambayo imesaidia life yake. Hata pengine mtoto wake pengine hawezi, lakini umemwezesha. Maana unasema kama wewe ni coach, wewe ni leader, na leader ufai kuwa selfish.
So sisi hata vile hata wakubwa wetu kama vile tuko na kina Ndorito na tuko na Chaiman pia waone ile uchoyo, wangekuwa na hiyo uchoyo hawangenifikia.
Kweli wangekufikia pale kwa
mahali hapo chini. Juu tuko chini. Naona alikubali kushuka hizo steps mpaka nifikie, ndio watushike, watu
pande na nyinyi.
Hivyo.
Hapo sasa. Kefa Ochieng Okol. Coach wa Thika Royal Boxing Club. Bwana Vice Chair, naambia uko na dakika moja tu. Of course, umemsikia mahitaji yao. Najua, of course, I'm sure you've already had these requests before about what they're going through. These are boxers. I'm sure also I don't know if they deal with ladies and stuff like that, but it's a community. What are some of the steps in terms of holding their hands? Juu unajua hatuani, ako na familia, or maybe lazima alishe nyumbani. What is the Business District Association doing in terms of enabling the club to nurture these young ones and those who are coming up?
Yeah, is a good straightforward question. What have we been doing?
Yes, in 1 minute.
No, I can only answer what we are doing now.
Yes.
I assure you that they made a very noble proposal. They even have the answer in their mind. What they need is their hand to be held. Like there is a plea from coach ya kwamba if we can be able to influence that they can get some skills, those who don't have the members wake wakuwe trained in some skills, or wakuwe tuongee nao tunajaribu kuwapatia hizo networks, whether they can be fixed somewhere.
Yes, a box na afanye kazi.
A box na afanye kazi.
Napige shughuli.
Actually, that's where our key security issue now comes Correct. In. I want to say to coach, it is possible. A long journey begins with a small step.
True.
A single one. So this event is a beginning. Before we even now start doing that, we are already doing bigger things in terms of networking. It is possible to have the electricity in the hall.
Yes.
Again, this hall is a public hall. So it is a community hall.
True.
Members of the community have a responsibility on that hall.
They must discuss and agree and all.
So I want to tell Coach Kefa, you just, the key issue is how you present yourself, because it is possible that we can move there.
True.
I'm even happy about what we have right away for the event. I know the members have already pressed issues like frauding, painting.
Yes. So those
okay, we only need now to put that specific area now, the cleanliness in the hall. And then another member, we will do that. Because myself and the chair and the whole governing council is on this issue. Now, our focus.
I'm happy to hear that.
I want to appeal to our members out there, our industrialists, that this is a charitable event.
True.
As usual, we have always won in our charity events. So this one, we also win.
Asante.
So thank you so much.
Vice Chair of the Thika District Business Association, Bwana Wilson Nderitu, representing of course that association. Asanteni sana of course kwa kushika mkono our boxers in Thika. Coach Kefa Ochieng, coach of the Thika Royal Business Club, boxing club. And then of course the featherweight boxer Jamal Hatwani. Keep on doing what you're doing because you're motivating a lot of young ones, both men and women, boys and girls are looking up to you. So shika mkono kwe kama mani paki yao, ukwe mpaka senator. Mimi nitakupigia kura, niko kadi. And the director of Milk Boxing Promotions, Bwana Ezekiel Mwabili. Yes. He's on social media, very active on Facebook. Just in case you've missed anything, on Facebook, Ezekiel Mwabili.
Call to make as well.
Uko na 10 seconds.
Yes.
Director animaliza kwa msikio.
Okay. So, guys out there, please, let's make Thika town on 25th of April a big thing. I know Thika is very much close to the city, so transport iko easy, security tumeangalia. Please support my youth, support vijana. hata ma legends wa boxing pia kujeni at least pia mpate kuwapatia morale wa vijana. Tafadhali tunafaa kujaza Thika ili tupate kuona growth kwa hii sport ya boxing. Karibuni nyote.
Anana Small on the 25th is a Saturday. Saturday on the 25th of April.
Early
2 p.m. tutakuwa pale Ananas. Mimi mwenyewe nitakuwa pale na squad mzima na Boniface Kimanzi and of course na sports team tutakuwa pale. Tupige shughuli pale for the boxing, of course, to support our local talent. And I'm sure, of course, they have attracted a lot of other supporters from different areas across the country. So thank you very much, Wilson. Thank you, Kefa. Thank you, Hatwan, and thank you, Ezekiel. And thank you for... Ulisema director nito nani? Ule director wako?
Peter Ngula.
Peter Ngula. Asante sana penye huko. Peter Ngula, tunashukuru sana kwa kazi unayofanya. Tuwezi kosa kusema. Otherwise najua utatuletea shida tukishatoka hapa. But asante sana kwa kuwa na sisi. This is Sports Extravaganza. Thank you for staying with us. Right now, I'm being told by my director, Emmanuel Inonda, umesema tunaenda Manchester. We are just crossing over from Manthika, of course, Ananas Mall. We are crossing to Manchester right now in the UK, where Ali Hussein is, of course, on standby. Ali Hussein, you have the very latest, of course. You want to weigh in on to what happened, of course, in the Africa Cup of Nations. You want to weigh in, of course, what's happening in the English Premier League. Ali Hussein, take it over.
Hello everyone, Ali Hussein here, and I am once again joined by TV47 reporting live from Manchester. Now, the first thing on the agenda is obviously that CAF have stripped Senegal of the Africa Cup of Nations title and have given it to Morocco. Now, my opinion on this is that I don't really agree with this. You know, everyone saw what happened, and in my opinion, it just ruins the moment. Now, that goal that Papa Gueye scored, it was a beautiful goal. It was a euphoric moment. It was a celebratory moment for the Senegalese fans, and the fact that it now means nothing to them, it does leave a sour taste in my mouth. And yeah, now in my opinion as well, this just sets African football back now so many years. I feel like the years that the continent has spent building this competition and its credibility has been tainted due to the incompetence shown by the higher-ups at the CAF. Now, the next thing on the agenda is that the Champions League quarterfinals have been announced. Now, it's been a very exciting round for the Champions League. You know, a lot of teams really flexing their muscles in this competition. Now, the first game that really sticks out to me is obviously Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich, and in my opinion, this is the most exciting clash of the draw so far. And I just think that Bayern are too strong. They've really been sort of flexing their muscles, really scoring a lot of goals. Harry Kane, I'm talking about the likes of Michael Olise. And the Real Madrid, by their very high standards, have faltered. You know, they've not really been exactly the most impressive team in the Champions League either. So I do think that Bayern will have just enough to overpower them. Next game on the agenda is Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid. Now, Barcelona are also a very exciting team to watch. You know, they don't really care much for their defensive structure. In my opinion, they will concede about 3 to score 5. And I think that they will have enough to break Atletico down. I think Atletico are quite porous at the back sometimes, despite their sort of defensive reputation. I do think that they can leak goals, and I do think that Barcelona will exploit that. Now, the next game is Arsenal versus Sporting. Now, Arsenal are on a roll right now. In my opinion, they are the best team in the competition. They finished first in the group phase. And yeah, I do think that they will have more than enough to overpower Sporting. But there is a big caveat to that Sporting could prove to be a potential banana skin for the Gunners to trip on. You know, the way they packed in Bogo Glimt in the previous round, it was impressive to see. And if Arsenal are not on their P's and Q's, I think that Sporting can do it, but I don't think that will happen. And I do think that the Gunners will have way more than enough. And lastly, PSG versus Liverpool. Now, PSG are a side like Barcelona in that they will score 5, yet concede 3. But yeah, I do think that they are the best attacking force in Europe. You know, the way they annihilated Chelsea was just so thrilling to see. You know, the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, Desiree Doué, Bradley Barcola. Yeah, they are on a roll right now. And yeah, I do think that they will have more than enough to beat Liverpool. And finally, Arsenal versus City in the EFL Cup final. Now, all form goes out the window in these cup finals, but City have proved me wrong in the sense that I thought that they were sort of, you know, show themselves to be the same ruthless sides that they have been in previous years, but they have faltered this season quite a lot by their standards. And I do think that Arsenal, with their momentum, will win that game. And I think that it will be an official passing of the torch from Pep to Arteta. So yeah, so thank you very much, and you can catch all of the action on TV47.
Thank you very much, Ali Hussein, coming to us live from Manchester in the United Kingdom, of course, with the very latest about football. He is a top international football journalist based in Manchester, and of course contributes and is part, of course, of a punditry segment here on TV47. So we appreciate you, Ali Hussein, really indeed, for sharing your valuable sides, of course, of what's happening in football, the CAF controversy, the Champions League, and also the English Premier League. Of course, earlier on we had Charlie Rowing all the way from London, of course, giving us his bits about the CAF Appeals Board ruling on stripping Senegal off. So remember also, later on this show, we shall be having Peter Otai also coming to us one-on-one. We shall also be having Suleiman Muiru coming to us, I think from Germany. And also we have another one, of course, from the Boniface Asema ametoka Dubai ama ni Doha. But of course, from Etihad, we shall be, of course, having one of our other contributors, of course, to share with us about the opinion on what is happening in football, especially Senegal being snatched their trophy. But that trophy right now is in the middle, at the center of the barracks in Dakar. So CAF and Motsepe, you can take your bandwagons to Senegal. All the best with retrieving it from the barracks. This is Sports Extravaganza. My name is Tony Kwalanda. Of course, this show I'm not doing it alone. Remember, we have an entire team behind the cameras and, of course, in the gallery, and our technicians as well. But now I'm joined by our football team, our football punditry and commentary team. Of course, we shall start with the chairman of Mseto FC, and the current, of course, and former coach, right? Bwana Michael Banabe. Karibu sana.
Thank you, sir.
Najua alikuwa ameenda kuomba kikombe iletewe Kenya, lakini haiwezi Africa Cup of Nations.
Kwa nimeenda kutetea
Kenya.
Tupatiwe hiyo.
Tusinyang'anye kikombe wakati tunashinda. We don't want it when we win it in 2027. We don't want it.
Nasikia pia ile bao ya Oga mwenye tulifunga Morocco. Nasema nasikia wamesema ilikuwa offside. So game iliisha 0-0. On a lighter note.
Usitonyeshe kidonda ya Morocco. Unajua ambassador na watch show. But of course we have my very good friend, a board member of Kayole Starlets, the team, of course, in the Women's Premier League, top football pundit in Kenya, Dennis Madheka. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Nilifurahi sana kuona story yako. Jana nilikuwa nafanya story yenu ya Kayole Starlets, vile mmepata wachezaji kutoka kule Barcelona, ladies ya Laikipia, wachezaji wazuri moto. But mnafanya kazi nzuri pale Kayole Starlets. Joshua Sako anafanya kazi nzuri kama coach, so muendelee kupiga shughuli kabisa. Unaona nimekuwa nikifuatilia mambo yenu.
Kweli,
asante. Asante. Matunda's finest, of course, one of our top football journalists, and of course a commentator, Bwana Danto Sibola.
Asante sana.
Karibu sana, gentlemen. We always observe the 2/3 gender rule, and that way you observe it because our sound engineer is called Scholar. Scholar, of course, now you know we have a 2/3 gender rule. Hiyo stasema director, unataka nifutwe kazi. But let's just get into it. We've had we've had this story about the Africa Cup of Nations being stripped from Senegal. I know we have a lot of images of Senegal wakisherekea when they won that trophy in January 18. So remember, it was a chaotic final at Rabat in Morocco. Chaotic. I mean, walitoka kwa uwanja 15 minutes, wakarudi tena, wakacheza, nani aka lose penalty, wakafunga bao, and then Senegal won. They were given the medals. They were given the medals by FIFA president Infantino. Sindio, Infantino alikuwa pale, Motsepe mwenyewe alikuwa pale akapatiana, ule jamaa, ule Hussein Mohamed wa huko pia alikuwa pale akapatiana. And then later on, wanatuambia ati wame Barnabe, Inonda amesema tuanze na wewe.
Na mwambie Inonda nimemsalimia sana. Nimemsalimia sana sasa hivi tunatafuta top 4 hivi pamoja. But anyway, Tony, I'm glad to be here. It is very unfortunate. I know kumekuwa na arguments mingi. From where the law sits, CAF is right. And with whatever happened, we have a lot of opinions about the same. But this is my take. I think it is very unfortunate that Africa tunafikia hapa kwa sababu imepitwa na wakati. I think the ruling was okay because kulikuwa na claim from Morocco, walichukua wakapeleka wakasema this is what happened, we didn't follow the law, blah blah blah, and the ruling came, you know, in their favor. It happened. How long kutoka January 18th mpaka saa hizi imetake kuamua hii kesi? I think, for me, I think the ruling haiko mbaya. But the moment referee alikubali wachezaji back kwa uwanja, hiyo ilikuwa imemaliza kila kitu. Naunga mkono Sadio Mane aliposema kwamba ya uwanja wacha ishie uwanjani. The referee has decided. Let us also give the refereeing department respect because this is not really what we expected. So, you know, at the cost of sijui kujaribu kubalance, kujaribu kufuata sheria, kuna vitu zingine ambazo zinakuja zinakupaka matope hata kama umefuata sheria, kiukweli unakuwa ina dilemma. Let me ask you something, Tony. Now, are we going back to the podium after, let's say Senegal wamerudisha kikombe. So tutaenda tena kwa podium,
Senegal wapatiwe silver,
and then Morocco wapatiwe yao gold yao whatever, na wapatiwe kikombe tupige tena picha to erase memories January 18th. Will that happen? So nimesikia jamaa arudishe best man, best player of the tournament, I don't know, best goalkeeper of the... No, this should not be happening. But I think Motsepe and CAF wameingia siasa mingi sana, and this is my own opinion. I think kuna siasa nyingi zimeingia pale. You remember issues zimeingia in terms of when they were rearranging the AFCON, they talked about 4 years. Again, a later issue. Kwa sababu people felt like the western part of football of this world is influencing decisions za AFCON. Now tumeiona sasa hivi. But mimi namaliza nikisema hivi. I urge my brothers Senegal. I request them humbly straight from Nairobi. Please, rudisheni to your cup. Kama ndio kitu wanataka, wapeeni. There is no problem. Wapeeni kwa sababu again hatutaki wabaniwe. Unajua pia lazima uangalie the greater good. Watabaniwa games, wafanye nini? Countries zingine ziungane nao, ziseme pia sisi hatuta, boli yetu ya Afrika itaharibika. They will lose, yes. Wacha tu warudishe. That's my take. Warudishe hiyo trophy. You know, the whole world has seen. Africa mzima ishaona. We all know that Senegal are the winners. So wapeeni trophy. Those 10 million, kama mshazi tumia, I know Sadio Mane can contribute the 10 million alone na wapatie. So respectively, si tunajua who won. And we know who the king of Africa is.
Madheka bwana. Mimi natofautiana na rafiki yako. Kabisa. Umane.
Warudisha tu trophy.
Haiwezi.
Yes.
Umeona president,
umeona the stake of our game.
President kwanza amepiga picha. Si ndio? Kikombe tumeona. There are reports on social media. Kikombe imepelekwa barracks. Watu wamepiga picha wamesema warudishe. Madheka.
Hapa mimi natofautiana na Michael Banabe sababu kitu kama kile hakijafanyika katika ulimwengu wa soka, sijaona kitu kama hicho. Sababu utaanza kuregesha kila kitu kuanzia sijui nini mpaka nini, hizo zote amehesabu. Unaelewa? tukiingia upande mwingine au tukiingia hata timu ya Morocco tayari mtu kama Hakimi ameambiwa na mamake kwamba usikubali hiyo kikombe, si ndio? Na yeye mwenyewe akaamua kwamba mimi hiyo kikombe, hata mimi naamini Senegal walitufunga kwa haki na hiyo siku wakabeba kile kikombe. Unaona sisi ngozi yetu hii nyeusi, si ndio, nikiwa mmoja wao yani iko na shida sana. Mosepe, mimi namlaumu Mosepe sababu hakuna vile wewe utafika mahali ukae chini na uamue uamuzi kama huo na ukubali eti kikombe eti kwamba nani walishinda Morocco ndio wanafaa ushindi katika hiyo finali. Unaona ni makosa makubwa sana yani.
Nakumbuka of course, nakumbuka Patrice Motsepe Dantos came out, alitokea baada ya hiyo ruling ya CAF Appeals Board kutoa. Motsepe mwenyewe CAF president akatoka kuja akasema the CAF Appeals Body is composed of different member associations, which means alikuwa anajaribu kuwaosha akijitoa kwa hiyo ngori, akisema kwamba si mimi, ni Appeals Committee ilitoa hiyo uamuzi. Na inasemekana hata mimi sasa inaanza kuangalia president wa FKF hivi, nikiangalia nikisema wewe Hussein president, kwani ulikuwa kwa hiyo Appeals Committee?
No, the Appeals Committee kuna South Africa, kuna Nigeria, kuna Malawi, kuna Ethiopia. But rather than that, Tony, two things nimekuwa najiuliza about the whole shenanigans nimekuwa nafanyika. And nimekuwa ku reflect back kenye one of the pundits kutoka majua anaitwa Jimmy Carragher alisema that Africa maybe hii competition is not a serious competition. And now I think Africa wakambash sana online. But I think now amekuwa vindicated. Unapata? But the whole issue nimekuwa naifuatilia sana. So many opinion, kuna kitu Barnabas amesema hapa which ni kama hajaiweka vile inafaa kuwa, ni kama ako hapa tena ako hapa. Amesema nakubaliana na whatever the decision ili make. First of all, we're not saying that whatever Senegal did at that time was good. Walking away, it was not good. It was a very bad picture. Correct. Let's all agree. But miki najiuliza swali, referee wa hiyo siku ako najua kuna article 82 ama 84. He knew, si ndio? Angeapply saa hiyo. Lakini yeye alisema ball watu warudi. Alikaa na wakachezwa. Football is played in the field, not on boardrooms.
Appeals boardroom.
Yes, unanipata? Na referee decision of the last final decision. Nimekam kuona pia kitu Eto. I know why people like Mosepe normally fights Eto so much. Because unajua Eto ni mtu anaongea ukweli vile iko, cause he has played football, he know how things are run. And I'm telling you the truth. Whatever you have been reading on social media, I think is true. CAF is corrupt.
Allegedly.
Kweli. Allegedly. But CAF is corrupt. And the whole house inafaa kuwa, yani jamaa wapak tu na waishie. It was so embarrassing. Yani everybody dunia mzima anatuongelea but in negatively. Unapata? So I think watu kama Mosepe kuja kutuambia after decision imemekiwa, kuja kutuambia ni kama kuna jua whatever decision enda kumekiwa as the president of CAF, hiyo ni kutubeba kama hizi
ni kali jua kasi.
Na nakwambia hiyo information haiwezi toka bila Mosepe kujua. They need to report back to Mosepe.
Dantos, what I said, maybe honestly understand me. You see, there are things you do in life to avoid a lot of issues.
Yes.
And let me tell you this, where I sit as a coach, there are things I understand in football and on the side of referees. And allow me to mention this. I know it is not known, but there is what we call game management for referees. Let me give you an example, Tony, and if I'm wrong, maybe I might be wrong. Wewe ni referee umeenda kwa hostile field. Kuna viwanja hostile in this nation. Pale tu mtaani, wachana hata na huku juu. Pale mtaani penye you don't have a camera showing anything there. It's you, the hostile fans and the rest and the away team. There are some things if utafanya kwa hiyo game utaharibu. For example, hata kama ni kufuata sheria Tony, au majamaa watapigana.
It doesn't matter.
But red card. Unaona, nasema hivi. Na mimi naenda kwa game ya Senegal. Me I think what the referee did, alikuwa anajaribu kuficha uchi wa makosa imefanyika pale kwa kuallow. As you've said, It's not that he didn't know Article 82 and 83 ziko, but aliona for the sake of peace and for the sake of the game, it is okay. Wacha warudi tuendelee. This is the ultimate game ya hii tournament. Na everyone is watching.
No.
They came back, wakacheza, ikaisha.
Banabe. In each and every game, there must be rules. And rules lazima zifuate to the latter.
They are rules. Kama zingekuwa ni kufuata, tungezifuata hapo. Disqualify Senegal wapi?
Yes.
Hapo.
Lakini mbona unatuambia ati alifanya for the sake of peace? Hakuna peace hapo. Rules are clear. Article 284.
Ile peace
inasema unaona referee Banabe angesema tu hiyo game na kuja seme because of Article 283 Senegalese players walikuwa out of the field. Hapo angesema I'm awarding 3 goals to Morocco.
Yes.
Na Morocco are the winner. Na amalize. Alafu Morocco ende kwa appeal.
Na mimi ndio maana nasema.
Alafu Morocco ende kwa
Senegal warudishe tu hiyo trophy. Kwa sababu
na ingekuwa rahisi wakati Morocco inacheza uwanja wa nyumbani.
Unajua tuna escalate. Tuna escalate. If wameipeleka kwa barracks huko, it is escalating everything.
Tusikie Banabe.
Making the matter worse.
Banabe unajimix.
No, I'm not.
Just a minute. Unajimix because wewe unasema referee angemake decision hapo award Morocco hizo points tatu na win. Tena bado unasema Senegalese relax.
Let me clarify because you are not understanding.
Utarudi Banabe.
Banabe. Nakwambia kuna double standard because unasema referee angemake sheria hapo which we agree. Lakini bado unatuambia Senegal irudishe kikombe. Na referee aliamua Senegal ndio winners. Inamaanisha uko double standard. Utaki kugemea pande moja, but truth be told, huyo referee alijua kuna Article 82, Article 84. Is true, ndio. Kama angeaward Morocco winners that day, hakuna mtu angepinga, wangepewa. But itakuwa very fair. But itakuwa why is the world talking? Because it's very shameful kunyang'anya mtu kikombe kisha ni kama for example game ya jana tulinyimwa penalty. Hata sasa wasemee hiyo penalty Bruno tu asimangefunga tupate hizo point tatu. It doesn't happen like that. Referee is the last person.
Dantos. If you can give me 1 minute to
nakupatia tuko na minutes mingi tuko na no uta respond. You will be minute.
I will be given.
No, you'll be given your 1 minute to respond to trophy na referee.
Why?
You'll be given.
Yes, kwa nini I'm not in double standard?
Michael Banabe, Dennis Madeka, and Tando Sibola here. My football gang over here, of course, dissecting CAF together with Motsepe. And I understand if we have our pundit, our commentator in Lancaster, in Onda, you said, Will Lancaster is in Manchester as we speak right now, joining us one-on-one. Will, please join this bandwagon. What is your take?
Hello, TV47, Will Lancaster, an English Premier League reporter, joining you for the first time from the UK to talk about the Premier League title race. But first, to Africa, with Senegal being stripped of the AFCON trophy, giving Morocco the title after their antics off the pitch in what was the most bizarre final in some time. We all remember Brahim Diaz's failed Panenka and the superb strike from Papagay, but it was the antics before that from Senegal's team that brought the game into disarray. It's obviously a very bad look for African football. There's no shying away from that. No other international trophies have been brought into disrepute like this in the past. And no doubt it will throw the next AFCON into more disregard. After some of the antics at AFCON as well in 2021 and 2022, there will be more pressure than ever on tournament organisers to ensure that the next one runs smoothly. And if Senegal and Morocco meet again, who knows what will happen. Be an interesting one for sure. To the Champions League, and we now know our 8 teams in the quarter-finals. Some big teams were knocked out: Chelsea, Manchester City, Tottenham Hotspur, as well as everyone's favourite Bodo Glimt from Norway. PSG, they'll face Liverpool after beating Chelsea 8-2, and I think they will go through. The reigning champions of Europe, obviously, they absolutely demolished Chelsea, and with Liverpool in a kind of a poor run of form overall, I can't see PSG losing that one. Real Madrid take on Bayern Munich in the biggest heavyweight clash of the round. Madrid obviously have serious prestige in the Champions League, and having beaten Manchester City 5-1, you could see them as the favourites for the title, but I do think there is something incredible about Bayern Munich under Vincent Kompany. Scoring 10 over 2 legs against Atalanta really is something to behold. I think they can get the upset. Harry Kane is on fire and maybe on course for a Ballon d'Or. Luis Diaz, Michael Olise, that's a really talented front line, and I think they could cause an upset against Madrid. Barcelona face rivals Atletico in an all-Spanish clash. They've already faced each other over 2 legs in the Copa del Rey, which Atletico did win. But on the biggest stage, I do think it'll be Barcelona that advance. They got to the semi-finals last season, and there's no reason they can't do the same again, especially with their star-studded attack, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Robert Lewandowski. There are some real world-class talents in there, and I think over the 2 legs they will beat Atletico. And finally, we have Sporting versus Arsenal. Every year it seems as though a Portuguese club gets through to the quarterfinals, but they can't quite breach that semi-final push. And with Arsenal being the most resolute team in the competition at the moment, I do fancy them to breeze past Sporting and make an interesting set of semi-finals there. In fact, I do think it could be Arsenal's year. If they can take on Barcelona in the semi-finals, then one game could be enough to see them over the line. They're very resolute, great defensively, and who knows what happens in the final. But I think it could be Arsenal's year. To another London club in Chelsea, they suffered a real hammer into PSG, and it does seem as though Liam Rossignol is slightly out of his depth. It's maybe not his fault. He's only managed in the Championship and Ligue 1 before, which is decent experience, but Chelsea needs someone with a bigger reputation. Antonio Conte, Carlo Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, all names from the past. I don't think Rossignol is anywhere near those standards. You can't blame him for taking the job, but I think you have to look at Todd Bowley, the owner, and Clear Lake Capital. Chelsea have gone backwards since they came in. There is no shine away from that. And that is not down to Liam Rossignol, the manager. It's down to poor planning, poor spending, and a poor future outlook from the Chelsea bosses. On to Liverpool. Arne Slot eased his own fears over the sack with a 4-0 win over Galatasaray on Wednesday. It's not the season he might have expected after signing Alexander Isak for a club record fee, Florian Wirtz for over 100 million and Hugo Ekitike, but there is still the chance to win the Champions League. The Premier League is gone. It will be tough, but Anfield is so important on continental nights, under the lights. It's a tough place to go, and that'll be vital against PSG. If they can keep them quiet, they already showed last season that they can win in Paris, and an upset could be on the cards again. Whether they'll win the tournament, I'm not quite sure. And finally, a huge clash in England this weekend. Arsenal face Manchester City in the League Cup final. Mikel Arteta will obviously be thirsty for his first piece of silverware in almost 6 years to prove that he can win trophies, perform against the biggest clubs in the country and in the world, and give himself a little bit of breathing space when it comes to the pressure of actually winning silverware. But they face City. City have won the League Cup more than anyone under Pep Guardiola. He knows how to see finals through at Wembley. He's beaten Arsenal there before. And although they've not been at the best in recent times, that experience could count a lot for their players. Obviously, they won the treble just under 3 years ago, and a lot of that squad remain. That could be enough to see them over the line. It might well be Arsenal's year in the Premier League and in the Champions League, but I do have a feeling that City will win at Wembley this weekend. Thank you, and Asante Sana.
Asante Sana, Will Lancaster. I hope I said it correctly. Really, indeed, for sharing that, for all the way coming to us on one from Manchester. Of course, on this show here in Kenya on TV47, the show specifically Sports Extravaganza, coming to you live every Saturday, 4 p.m. all the way to 8 p.m. today, because remember, we are airing to the EPL match. As, of course, we've rightfully heard from Will, there's a lot that's happening in the English Premier League. And, of course, Will is one of the top football journalists in the United Kingdom. And, of course, they are now stationed right here on Sports Extravaganza. I also have the best football analysts in Africa, talking about Africa and talking about the Africa Cup of Nations and why Africa behaving like Africans with the Africa Cup of Nations 2025 Senegal. And we've had, and of course I have Dantos, I have Dennis, and I have Barnabe. Barnabe, with your 1 minute before I get in.
My 1 minute. Again, there's something I've been reflecting on. When we are talking about Article 82 and 83, they are talking about or grounds on which the referee should call off the match and award the opponent, whoever is available there, the points. So really, if we get into this, because also people should not look at that paragraph only. If we look at this, did really, according to the law specified under the same article, did Senegal walk away from the match?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me tell you why. I think they did not. This is debatable, and yote anaweza ni correct. When does the referee give a walkover? After how many minutes after the kickoff? Team ilikuwa inacheza, ikatoka, ikaenda. Sadio Mane alikuwa bado uwanjani. The coach pia alikuwa shaenda. And some other technical stuff walikuwa grao. So did Senegal walk away? And I think this is some of the grounds that the appeal that is there by Senegal, these are the grounds that wataangalia. Ilikuwa 15 minutes, if I'm not wrong, between 15 and 17 minutes that the game stopped.
And Mane was still on the pitch.
Mane was still on the pitch. So, what does the law say about walking away? Walichukua gari wakaenda, game second half ikaisha. Kama hakuna mtu, referee akamaliza game, alafu akapeana, ama ilikuwa namna gani? Je, wakati tuko kwa uwanja, fracas zimetokea, wachezaji wametoka, wameenda, wamesimama, wamesema sisi tuendelee kwa sababu hakuna usalama, wamesimama pale nje ya line ya huo uwanja. Referee huwa anashikilia time, anawaambia na wapatia hii time.
Walikuwa washaingia
ndani. So I want to challenge everyone talking about this.
Acha Banabe.
I want to challenge every person debating this. Go and read the law under that article 82 and 83 Kenya inasema kuhusu giving walkovers and those who are walking away.
Wacha ni ngoja tu shikilia tu hapo Dantos, shikilia hapo Dennis, shikilia hapo Barabe. Shikilieni tu hapo, shikilieni. Hapa moto inawaka, ndio maana AC tumewasha hapa ndani. This is Sports Extravaganza. It's getting hot inside here on this conversation about the Africa Cup of Nations trophy, Senegal, Morocco. Nani apewe? Mama ya Hakimi ambaye amemtetea na warembo, amemwambia usichukue hiyo mrembo anaitwa kikombe. So of course right now, just before I involve Dantos and Madeka, we have a very own sports international journalist all the way from Germany. Yes, from Germany. His name is Suleiman Mwiru, who is joining us one-on-one again on this very show, of course, to discuss about what we also have in this, the Africa Cup of Nations, to discuss about the English Premier League, and of course, what is happening in the Champions League, as well as the other top European football leagues. Mwiru, take it over.
This whole situation is actually embarrassing, to be honest. When I first heard it, and I was like, what's really going on there? You know, for a very long time, we had this from European football pundits, you know, football managers not taking this tournament in a very serious way. But this year, we had the impression, everybody was like, okay, African Cup of Nations is fantastic and amazing. And according to CAF themselves, they said the tournament of this year was something phenomenal. You know, the viewers, the impression was top-notch, you see, before the final game. And after the final, everybody saw what happened, and the CAF took the action. They fined the Senegalese coach and the federation and some of the players also. The same to Moroccan team and also the federation. And in my opinion, that was over. And coming up with this final decision, it is actually shocking and embarrassing that after 3 months, now you're coming up with this decision. This was something that I really didn't understand. And I've seen it, even Moroccan players and some of the fans are not happy with it because they don't want to win the trophy like that. So this whole situation is actually embarrassing, not only for the CAF themselves, but also as an African living here. When you see something like that, it gives an image that you guys are not really serious, and all this says that we have been hearing for a very long time now coming to be true. You know, you cannot defend yourself again with this saying, because what is actually happening is actually presenting that you guys are not serious. So now the Senegal also appealed, so we don't know what's going to happen after that. And remember, after the final game, we said, okay, what happened, but this shouldn't define African football. But what happened just recently is actually defining African football, that we are not serious at some point. And I don't know what's going to happen after this, but it's totally embarrassing and shocking at the same time.
Thank you very much, Suleiman Mwiru, coming to us live all the way from Germany. And you just heard him clearly, of course, his first statement when he was talking to us, that it was very, in his own words, it's very embarrassing. From where he's sitting in Germany, looking in Africa, it's very embarrassing of what is happening about the CAF Appeals Board decision to award Morocco the Africa Cup of Nations, which Senegal won on January 18th. I am not putting my feelings in this conversation. I'm just expressing what you asked us to speak on these platforms. However, you can be part of these conversations. You know, of course, our WhatsApp number 0793 26927. Mutaiona hapo kwa screen. Number to call is 0795045864. And then, of course, our SMS number is 22047. Mtanisamea, najaribu kushikanisha vitu mingi hapa hivi. Remember, this is live, this is Sports Extravaganza. Dantos, Madeka, and Barnabe, together myself. We have a game. We are airing live to you. Fulham versus Burnley, all the way from Craven Cottage. We shall, of course, have a commentary team on standby from 6 p.m. To see how these things. Remember, Burnley are burning in the relegation zone, and they need this win seriously. Fulham, on the other hand, are looking to make their way into European football. That's an interesting clash from 6 p.m. right here on TV47. Remember, you can watch it uninterrupted on tv47.digital. Nimekram, nimesema. My director tells me that we also have, we shall be having a tie from Uganda, or nani atakuwa standby huko. Of course, we shall be getting to, I know we are getting a lot of rain, and of course our network might be interrupted. However, if we get and manage to get people from Uganda and Tanzania, we should be able to bring them to you. However, this right now, let me bring in Dantos and Dennis, because Dantos had said indeed that Dantos alikuwa amesimama, not Dantos, Barnabe alikuwa amesimama, our cameras were under threat. He was explaining some 45-minute rule of delay and stuff like that. But this same situation, Dennis, now of course on my team, 1976, we are being reminded of what happened between Morocco and Guinea, where Morocco walked out and came back and won. That was the last time they were winning the Africa Cup of Nations trophy. We are being reminded of 2010, no, is it 2010 or 2001, where Togo were attacked, Kina Emmanuel Adebayo, at the border. They're going for the Africa Cup of Nations. They were attacked at the border. Gunmen attacked them. They went, wherever they wanted to go play, but their president called them and told them for their safety, go back. They were fined, banned. I understand what Barabe is saying, that if whatever happens to Senegal hiding it in the barracks, it might affect their future generations. We are in such a catch-22 situations here. It is embarrassing. As in now, we are just confused. Dantos na Madeka.
Tony, let me tell you one thing. I think Barnabas ako right Kenya nasema, but pia anajimix kidogo. In this way, the rules that Barnabas is saying, Barnabas anajaribu kuinsinuate that sheria ya CAF ama ya FIFA inasema when two players are in the field, na timu nyingine itoke, even anajaribu kuinsinuate. But ati hawafai hiyo sheria ifai kuingilia hapo. But I want to correct you. Barnabas, you as a coach, for example, ndio game iendelee, timu zote ziko kwa kiwanja, ndio game iendelee. Na timu moja haina watu wengi, iko na watu less. Ni watu
inafaa kwa
kisheria inafaa kwa watu saba. Isn't it?
Inafaa kwa 7.
Ndio game iendelee, si ndio?
Yes.
Hakuna mahali wamesema ati mtu mmoja ama mtu mmoja tu wawili akiwa kwa kiwanja ati game iendelee. Hakuna. Sheria ni sheria.
No, I didn't say that.
No, this is an example I'm just giving you.
Okay.
And maybe I totally agree with Barnabas in all this situation. In all this situation, if we follow the law, Morocco is supposed to be awarded to be the winner of the Africa Cup of Nations. But at that time, not after some 58 plus days. Unanipata?
Should be instant.
Why? Because in that field, there was a referee alikuwa pale.
Na kulikuwa na VAR.
They
have structures of communication and decision making.
All the lawyers wametengenezwa story ya CAF or representing CAF wako pale.
I'm sure they anticipated such a thing. I'm sure they anticipated such kind of scenarios. Because all those scenarios have to be in play as you're getting into the final. So somebody did not do their work on that night, and the ones who should be liable, not Senegal and the trophy.
Yes. As I finished, Tony, is this a bad picture? Yes. It will affect kama Africans when it comes to football. Yes. In this way. And I'll explain in this way. And this now utapata African players wenye wanachezea Europe ama other countries hawatakuwa na respect kwa pia kurepresent national teams when it comes to Africa Cup of Nations. But ikam ni World Cup qualifier watakuwa na respect because CAF imetuma mpaka hii Africa Cup of Nations sahii imekuwa reduced to nothing by this decision wamemake. Kwa sababu let me give an example. For example, in Manchester United kuna 2 players, African players, ndio? Kuna Mbeumo na kuna Ahmad. Do you think Ahmad atakuja kuchezea country yake ama Mbeumo akuchezea country yake na hizo rules ziko?
Atasema
but when it comes to World Cup qualifier watakuwa na nini? Sisi ndio tumelelewa tukiangalia Africa Cup of Nations, big names wakina Kanu, wakina Jeje Okocha. You know, ando pia watu wanaleta ama wanaleta ladha kwa Africa Cup of Nations wenye wanachezea Europe, wenye tunaona hizo timu kama Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City unapata. It really will affect us big times kama atakuwa very careful.
Hii ni noma. Madheka.
Mimi kwa upande wangu nafikiri hizi ndio mbili zimeongea karibu kila kitu. Lakini mimi nagusia tu kitu kidogo. Kuhusu 1976 Morocco game imesimama wakatoka ndani wakaingia kwa uwanja wakachukua. This time round sasa ni
yule mwingine amekuja sasa ametoka amepewa.
Bado Morocco hawa Cup of Nation AFCON ya madem.
Yes.
Si ndio? Wameisimamisha mwanzo. Umeelewa lakini
after the ruling
bado wao ndio wenye kusema nini? Hawataki kucheza Cup of Nation wako Europe. Umeelewa sasa? Sasa hapo shabiki mpendo hapo nje, si ndio? Tafakari ya babu.
Where Sports Extravaganza here coming to you live on TV 47. Remember, I'm with Dantos, Dennis Madheka, and Barnabe. And of course, here we've been here all the way from 4 p.m. Now we are sliding into the English Premier League. TV 47, remember, every Saturday, we are definitely bringing you a game, whether Carabao, whether a championship, whether EPL, a game will be there for you. Of course, remember, tomorrow, we shall be airing the Carabao Cup final. Arsenal versus Manchester City will be live on TV 47. Hey. So leo ni curtain raiser ya kukuingiza kesho.
Na tumaliza bwana.
Baada ya miaka 66.
Napigia watu wangu wa nyumbani wale hawana madish
TV 47 kesho.
Kaherio tu kwa kawaida una watch game.
Hiyo maana tumemaliza. Na of course tunaingia kwa Fulham. Banaba kuna kitu ndio kama Banaba kama sema mambo ya hoteli. Banaba kuna sema hoteli. Enda kwa hoteli wafunge kila kitu.
Kuna jamaa
TV 47 tusisumbuane.
Kuna jamaa rafiki.
Hata slipe dish.
Mahali vijana wangu hukula before ende game. Anaitwa Mugusi.
Unasema big up.
Hapo anaeka akona big screen. Ana kidish kitu.
Atauza kesho.
Yerio tu ya kawaida lakini ile screen iko hapo.
Ng'ombe akamue leo usiku. Chai itakunywa hapo kesho.
Mugusi pange ndugu yangu. Madondo tu.
Marago kwa wingi. Lakini apunguze maji kwa marago.
Maji lazima aongeze.
All right now, just before I bring in my pundits, let's head to Germany a bit. Of course, Suleiman also has something. Suleiman has just called us back, of course, to get online with us to discuss about Liverpool. Your game menaje inaenda? Liverpool definitely have won.
Brighton wamepiga
Liverpool.
Is Mugonyi alive? Is Mugonyi alive and kicking? Mugonyi is a producer here. Mugonyi.
Two goals by Welbeck.
Brighton has beaten Liverpool. Earlier we, of course, managed to speak to Muiru Suleiman. Muiru, what do you have to say about Liverpool?
Liverpool is not really having a good season, just like Man City and Chelsea also are there at the same time. And they had ups and downs here and there. You cannot predict Liverpool games. You know, they win here and then they lose tomorrow. It is unpredictable for them. And I don't see if Arne Slot will be staying at Anfield for a very long time because the consistency of not winning the games is much stronger than the consistency of winning the games. So that's the problem. And yeah, so as I said previously, they are meeting PSG in their quarterfinal, UEFA Champions League quarterfinal, and I don't think if they will win it because PSG is a tough team and they are really good. They're having a very good season. And for me, as I said, I'm going with the PSG. The PSG will win it and go for the semi-final. and Liverpool will end there. And with the EPL, maybe they are trying so hard, maybe to go for a top 4, so that they can be able to play for UEFA Champions League next season again. And for me, Arne Slot is not having a good time at Anfield, and I hope if things continue to go this way, maybe after the end of the season, he will be sacked.
Thank you very much, Suleiman Mweru, all the way from Germany. And you are right. You just started your first words or your first sentence was straightforward, Suleiman. You said Liverpool are having a difficult season. Our producer here, Gaylord Mugonyi, is having a difficult season in terms of football, not in terms of his work. He's a very diligent young man. And everybody else who supports Liverpool, I think nani mwingine supporting Liverpool, I've forgotten him. Is it Mwaura? Mwaura, the producer of Radio 47. You're also having a very difficult season as a Liverpool fan, if I've got it correctly. Now, let's just shift into this game, Fulham versus Burnley. And remember, we're coming to you live in the next 10 minutes or so. I'm looking at the lineup. It's a game being played at Craven Cottage. That's the home of Fulham. In goal for Fulham, we have Leno. What do Arsenal know that? Of course, I'm looking at the 4 at the back. Castagna, Anderson, Bassi, Robinson. Then Iwobi, Baj, and of course, 2 midfielders. Then Wilson, King, and Bob. And then Muniz in striking in the strike formation. I'm looking, of course, at the Burnley side, who are burning in the relegation zone. Dubravka in goal. I'm looking, of course, Kyle Walker in defense, Ward-Prowse in midfield, Anthony and Mejbri in just playing just behind the Fleming in striking. Wacha tuanze na Dantos. Dantos, 4-2-3-1 for Burnley, 4-2-3-1 for Fulham. These teams seem like they don't want to lose this game. Hii hata inaweza kuwa under. Ukicongest midfield hivyo unajua sasa mtaka kufanya nini?
But I think wanasemanga EPL is one of the toughest league, wacha tukombe kweli. Because as you can see, utapata Burnley wana struggle very much. Wako I think number
Burnley wako number the second last.
Number 19.
Burnley are the second last on the table.
But they can pull a surprise.
Yes.
But it is next to impossible because mali mefikia saa hii each and every team wa Kenya Premier League, not Kenya Premier League, EPL wanacheza as if wako final. Everybody wants to be either wanataka kuwa still kwa EPL ama wanataka kuingia Champions League. So I think this game will be very easy for Fulham and they might beat those guys, I think even 3-0.
Fulham wako jubade.
Yes.
Na Burnley wako away. So umesema Burnley inaweza kula mtu wewe?
No, nasema Fulham
itanyanyua Burnley.
Hata 3-0. Yes.
Barnabe, are we in the same page here? ama so umeona kitu imefanyikia Liverpool?
Yes, that's what nakuambia.
The Brighton win against Liverpool has changed almost everything in that middle of that table, and this is what will propel actually Fulham to beat Burnley very bad, because right now Fulham wako number 12. Walikuwa almost number 9 huko. If they beat Fulham, Burnley, watarudi number 8 with 44 points.
Yes.
So that means lazima, sasa wako na 41, lazima washinde. Na pia ukiangalia Burnley, even if they win, wako I think na gap ya almost 9 points.
Unless they win all their matches.
Unaangalia hapo juu yao kuna nafikiri ni West Ham if I'm not wrong.
West Ham,
then kuna Nottingham Forest, then kuna Tottenham. West Ham again if I'm not wrong wanacheza na Tottenham. So hapo Burnley naona tu pia watangangana ndio kujaribu kusurvive, but it is almost to nothing. So for me na feel Fulham watapiga mtu. And I think when you're playing an opponent that plays the same formation and maybe, tactically maybe it's different, but the same formation, we sometimes not see many goals unless you change during that match, as the match continues. And I think Fulham is very good in adapting very fast because there's a day walitupiga sisi na first in the second half na first half ilisha 0-0. So me I know, but napatia Fulham ushindi. I think they will definitely carry the day because they need these points. Na wanataka kucheza pia conference. Unajua pia kuna kibarua kutoka number 6 kutelemka chini. Kila mtu anataka kucheza hiyo conference, hiyo Europa Cup. So that's where they want to belong the next season.
And that's before I bring in Madek, of course, to weigh in about how the first half will be. I know we have also Suleiman Mwiru in Germany again. And Mwiru, of course, wants to carry on from the conversation of Barnabe about Chelsea. Venye Fulham ilifanyia Chelsea. Hey. And Chelsea is not doing Barnabe and I good right here in this station. We are suffering. We were hopeful that Rosnia Liam was going to send us somewhere, but we are suffering. Suleiman, you had, of course, some intel or inside information about Chelsea. There were some rumors about a mall in the dressing room here, Chelsea. Suleiman, from Germany, what are you saying?
Speaking about Chelsea, Chelsea is my club. I support them, and I feel so sad because we're going through a lot at the moment, and I am admitting that we are not having a great season because of what happened with the new coach. You know, we had a former coach, we're now having a new coach. So there is a lot of things to be changed here, and that's what gives me hope that maybe Liam Rosinho will still have the control in the dressing room and things will change. We lost 3 games in a row in a week. We lost 5-2 to Paris Saint-Germain. We lost 1-0 to Newcastle, and we lost 3-0 to Paris Saint-Germain again. So that was a message, a clear message to us supporters that we are not really doing okay. But again, this is something to do with a coach himself and also for the players. The rotation is not really something that is really good. And yeah, so I have hopes maybe they will bounce back and do great stuff in the future. But at the moment, we are really down, and this is really something that I'm worried about. But again, Chelsea is Chelsea, and we will always find a way to get back again on our roots and see what we can do the best. So for the EPLs, I hope for the top 4. Maybe we will be able to play UEFA Champions League next season. Let's hope.
Suleiman Mwiru coming to us, of course, one-on-one from Germany. And Suleiman, you and I and Barnabe here in studio, yes, we are here. We are in suffering together. We shall hope that we finish at least, I don't want to say the word Europa. Let's try and finish in the Champions League. But that's a tall order for now, looking how things are. And the games that are remaining, it is not a joke. However, remember, this is TV 47. Below your screen, you will see, of course, we are entering into Fulham versus Burnley EPL game live from 6 p.m. in the next 3 minutes. I'll be shifting and changing, of course, and handing over this particular show to our commentary team at Craven Cottage, of course, to get us into that fixture. I know Dennis Madeka wants to share into this. Manchester, how do you call it? Remember Manchester United with the red card 2-2 yesterday. I just have to remind you guys, yeah, hii kichwa yenu kubwa mupeleke huko Old Trafford. Brighton beat Liverpool just this evening. And then, of course, we have Fulham versus Burnley. And then tonight, Chelsea will be playing against Everton away. And then at 11 p.m., we shall be having Leeds United versus Brentford. That is, of course, how things will be in tonight. Madeka, ngoja tu niko na wewe, najua nataka kupredict hapa kidogo kidogo.
Hakuna kitu anataka. There is nothing to predict. Man City are failure.
Tunachukua Everton hapa.
Wameshindwa kushika Arsenal. Pia nyinyi
Everton.
ongelelea Man City.
Man City hapa hakuna hapa.
Barnabe akahepa. Unakumbuka usiku?
Akahepa.
Hata nisome comment mbili kwenye WhatsApp. Mtu ametuma hello lastborn Isaac Mwana Blues Fulham to win. For Chelsea, I can't recognize my Chelsea anymore. Tune from Ndabibi, Duro, Naivasha. Tulikuwa kwa kwenye mbona sikuwaona. Jambo wadau, CAF decision is very much questionable. My concern is on the guys in studio. Okay. Please remind them, ini maoni ya mse fulani hapa. Please remind them that referees do not award walkovers on the field of plays purported by one of them. On the field of players purported by one of them. Second, remind them that when on the show, kindly quote, "Hey bwana, Buda, kwani wewe ulikuwa referee?"
Huyo ni referee.
Hajasema jina.
Hebu soma kidogo. Soma tu kidogo tu.
Kindly quote the clauses for the audience to get the correctives. We have quoted article 82 and 84. Wewe sasa unataka tukuquotie ama wewe
ama tusomee
ufungue data ufungue uone.
Msamee tafadhali.
You can read it akitaka tuko nazo.
Achana naye.
I don't blame the Wazungus when they interfere in our affairs because they clearly see we are unable to make our own decisions, maoni yenyu. And that incident proves it. And you expect African football and footballers and football to be respected. We have no right to demand for respect when we clearly don't respect each other. Very sad. Maoni yako. Please, when you send us your name, where you are. We will not, there's no one who will follow you. We will not send DCI to you. Another comment is, incompetence exhibited by AFCON officials is a true indicator of a corrupt Africa. I hope you are from Europe when you sent that. Another one is saying, hi guys, in the worst case scenario, could the game be played again on a neutral ground? Oh, mevuta. Okay, stasema. It's meaningless to give a trophy to Morocco in a manner seemingly closer to sympathy. Corruption is also looking to be in play. The federation is incompetent, period. Federation ama, unasema CAF, I think, una mean CAF. Mungu anasema Morocco inabebwa sana. Inafaa timu zisusie next tournament. Inauma sana kuona watu wa ovyo ndio wako ndani ya office ya CAF. Maoni yake. Ni mimi mwana Arsenal Dismans Rabin wa Turbo.
Ima umention mwana.
Turbo huko kwetu. Turbo huko wakina matunda huko.
Ima mention mambo ya Arsenal.
Lazima
hata tujaiongelelea hapa unaileta hapa.
Huyu mwingine anasema, maoni ya huyu mwingine, mimi hata huyo Madheka amevaa nguo ya
Kayole Stalin.
Amesema NYS.
Mshikie vizuri aone kamera iko wapi. Shike nguo jamaa aone. Shike nguo vizuri asome.
Kayole Stalin bana.
Ewe, tuende tuachie watu waoche.
Hebu kamaliza.
Ai.
Buda kula carrot.
Yaani ameona nguo hapa.
Kwani uko NYS hapo?
Kayole Stalin bana.
Hii bana Kayole Stalin.
Floor manager should come in here.
NYS bana.
But Tony
amevaa NYS ni Barnabe.
But Tony, I just want to the Kiburi, the new Kiburi guys. Tunaenda game. Okay, sawa.
Wacha watu wa NYS na Kayole Starlets will be back at halftime. Enjoy Fulham versus Burnley.
Certainly keeping them out though has been the issue at the other end. The leakiest defence in the top flight this term.